Hey there everyone, what's up? Back today with another Impressions video. And today we're going to be looking at another PSP RPG, and that is 7th Dragon 2020 by Sega. And 7th Dragon 2020 it's actually a sequel to the original 7th Dragon. And 7th Dragon originally is on the DS, and it's kind of a fantasy RPG, but this one 2020, as you could probably guess by the name, is a kind of near future cyberpunk, kind of post apocalyptic cyberpunk, I guess, is how you would explain it. Um, the world has been destroyed by dragons, like a scourge of dragons, I guess is the way to explain it. And you're part of like a special anti dragon task force set to, you know, free everybody from the horrible dragon rain, I guess. That's the easiest way to explain it. That's the very basics of the story, like the opening scene. So this game, it's made by Sega, as I mentioned, and unlike the first one on the DS, it has a lot less dragons to fight, so it's a lot less tedious. The first one on the first I should explain what kind of RPG it is. That probably makes sense. It's a third-person dungeon crawler, so you have three characters who run around the dungeon, and it's a combination of random encounters and enemies on the map. So I can explain that. Normal enemies are all random encounters. So all the monsters you come across that aren't dragons are just will randomly attack you, like a standard kind of RPG. But dragons are on the map. They're always on the map, and you can attack them. The dragons are much more powerful than your normal enemies, so they're on the map, and you can choose to fight them when you want to, or sometimes they attack you, or sometimes they're guarding areas. So you have to fight the dragons. But this game has 200 dragons. I think the original one had 400 or something, and it's just like out of control with too many dragons. And 200, I think, is a pretty good number. It probably sounds like a lot, but it's really not, because you'll be able to kill a bunch of them really quickly, and sometimes you'll be fighting more than one at a time, so the numbers actually go down pretty quickly. And like I said, you have three characters in your party, and you create them. They're not set characters, so you have 5 classes to choose from, and you can choose obviously 3. So out of the 5 classes, there's Samurai, which is a kind of an attack class, and you have Destroyer, which is like a different kind of attack class. It's like a fist-based attack class where the samurai uses swords, and the kind of effects that they can do are different. So each class has their own kind of special system going on. It's actually pretty interesting. The battles are simple yet interesting enough to not be too simple. For example, each character has their own system. As I said, the Destroyer has a thing called destroy levels. So he does a destroy level. It's randomly where you can do special attacks to make it definitely occur. But there's 3 destroy levels, and what you can do for special attacks depends on the destroy level of the enemy. And the destroy levels do heal, so you can't like rely on it to be like, just do the one special attack to get it down to the lowest destroy level and then forget about it, because it will heal after a couple turns, and you have to keep redoing the destroy level. So it does make you think about a lot of extra stuff beyond just like mashing the button. And you have other classes. The Psychic, which is kind of like your healing class. Kind of. This Psychic is like your magic healer class. So the Psychic can heal and do like standard like mage type attacks, like fire and ice and electricity based attacks, plus some other ones, but it's not really important. Just think of them as your kind of healing and magic user also. And there's also a Trickster, which does kind of status effects to enemies. So it's more focused on attacking with status effects against enemies. And then you have the Hacker, which does more focused on status effects to your party. So it's more buffs, and the Trickster is more debuffs, I guess, to the enemies. So you have like, from those choices, you can select 3 and build your party. I use the Destroyer, and a hacker and a psychic in my party, but I think a lot of people seem to prefer the trickster over the hacker, but it doesn't. I guess it kind of matters, but I didn't find it so difficult with the party I made, so it's pretty fine with it. And let's see. Well, how does it look? I guess it looks. it's the character designs are like those kind of like big heads and little bodies, like PS1 RPGs kind of. You run around the map like that, and there's a lot of battles you do. But the battles actually work out. They're turn-based, and they work out in a way that, because of each character has their own kind of special, like, battle system going on. You have to, like, match the battle systems for each one together and to form a cohesive kind of battle plan, which it's kind of similar to the way you would handle a first-person dungeon crawler, except it's not as in-depth. It's a bit easier than that, and overall the difficulty is not so difficult. Let's think of it this way: the difficulty it's pretty easy on the normal setting, and with the exception of some bosses where it's like you have to really think about a strategy, but for the most part, it's pretty easy. So it's not something that's really difficult. Let me think, what else is there? The music is done by Yuzo Koshiro, who is the guy who did like Streets of Rage and stuff. He's pretty famous. He did also what's it called, Etrian Odyssey and other games that you might be fans of. He's pretty famous, so you can get the Yuzo Koshiro effect here with Seven Dragon 2020. And let's see, I want to think of some other stuff about this game. The characters are pretty interesting. I mean, they're not great, and some of them are goofy, and it's kind of like, the story is interesting though, and the characters kind of make it that way. They're not all like goofy, as much as it looks like it's gonna be like kind of not serious, and a lot of times it's not. There are some kind of jokey characters, but there are some characters who have like serious issues and things that you have to handle, and there are some like kind of heavier moments to the story. So it's not all like goofy fun. But there are a lot of kind of Sega references in the game. If you're a fan of Sega, you'll like this game. Hatsune Miku is in the game. You find her like roaming around the city, and you can actually change the soundtrack of the game to have Hatsune Miku voiceovers for the sound, which I didn't actually do, but you can build like a room in your base that's like the diva room, and she'll be in there and she'll sing and stuff. So you can change the settings in that room to have the background music be Hatsune Miku. And there's other Sega stuff too. For the hacker, especially, one of the strongest weapons for the hacker is a Dreamcast. So you don't see it, but it's the Dreamcast, and it was probably the most powerful weapon, I think, for the hacker. And the hacker, again, when you do the hacker as a special attack, at level 40 you get these kind of like special attacks that each character can learn as kind of super special attack. And the hacker, when you do it, goes through this thing, but the hacker is hacking with a Sega Saturn controller. So like the hacker will pull out their Sega Saturn controller and start doing like all this hacking with a kind of Saturn-esque interface. It's pretty cool if you're a Sega fan. And let's see, it wasn't that long of an RPG. It took about 35 to 40 hours, I think. It probably wasn't a terribly long, and it went by pretty quickly. I mean, the map. There's only like one overworld map it's just kind of like a selecting areas kind of thing, and it's of course modern day Tokyo, and you go to these places in Tokyo and clear the areas of dragons, essentially. And once you clear the area of dragons, there's side quests and things you can do that you can get at your main base. So you have a lot of options. There are a lot of side quests. And they're optional, but if you want to beat all the dragons, you don't have to beat all the dragons, but if you want to defeat all the dragons in Tokyo, you have to do the side quests, because sometimes they're only unlockable through that. I don't know. I think that's about it for what I want to say about Seventh Dragon 2020. It was a lot of fun, actually. I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. And it's been out for a long time. I mean, the second one is already out, but I've been putting off buying it forever, and recently I got it for as a gift for my birthday, and I figured, well, play it because I've been mildly interested in it for a while, but I just couldn't bring myself to actually buy it, and I'm kind of sad that I didn't, because it was a lot more fun than I thought it was going to be. And I'm actually probably going to buy the second one, the sequel, whenever I run out of games to play, which is probably not any time in the near future. But once I get around to wanting more RPGs to play on my PSP, after I finish about 2 or 3 other games, I'll probably go on to Seventh Dragon 2022. And yeah, that's about it, I think. So this is the game if you want to see. I hear that there's not a translation for it, but there are like a kind of wiki or something that translates all of the quest titles and content. So like I think I've heard that the game is really easy to play if you don't mind playing along with the guide, and it'll tell you where to go and who to talk to and what they're saying. So it's like having a translation, just not in the game, if you're really interested in it. So I've heard that it's pretty easy in that sense to play if you don't speak Japanese or read Japanese. So, yep, that'll do it. I guess I will see you guys next time.